Alrighty, and pop this out. I think we're good. I think everything's up. All right. Let's see. I don't know where to move this. All right. I think we're all set up now, right? All right. So all I did so far is I just brought in the video. One thing that I like to do is I'm going to add on a dialogue processor, put it on male. I just use all the defaults. It works perfectly fine for my needs. And I kind of film at least these tutorials. Like I'll have a general idea of what I'm doing, and then I just kind of do like, it's all like a one take sort of thing, right? It just saves a lot of time. Having everything in one video feed. So I use OBS, and then I just have different scenes that I bounce back and forth between. Before I used to get the video files onto a card, and then I'd import that. And it does give you more flexibility, but it also does add a bunch of extra work. So I typically try to stay away from that unless I'm doing something that is like a multi-part, or I'm doing something, and I only really done it like once or twice, where I had I was filming in like another location, the setup and everything, and then brought it all into the editor, and then I made a second part where I was in the editor. I only done that once, but I need to do it more. But yeah, so that's kind of what I do. The first time that I start, I just do a quick run through. I will play everything back at 2x speed. There's a fast forward button. I forget what it is by default. I think it's like K or something. No, L. Yeah, play fast forward. So I do use this. But I do use a different version. I use fast forward instead of play fast forward, and I have it to a different key. I use tilde. So yeah. Thanks for hanging out, guys. All right, yeah, so let's get started. Hopefully we can hear all of this. So there's a ton of different things that you can... Okay, we definitely can. The music's not too loud, so you guys kind of hear exactly the same levels I'm hearing, which is good. Okay. And throughout this, you're going to see like all my mess ups. So there's a ton of different things that you can... Like that. So there's a lot of different things that you can make with Infusion. There's a lot of sets. So one of the things that I typically do is if I'm struggling getting a sentence out, I tend to pause and think about what I'm going to say. And to speed up editing, I'll look down. I'll constantly just be watching the waveform and look for these little breaks, because I know typically the way in which that I film things is if I feel confident with the way I said it, I then move on to another one, right? So it's not like I say it a couple of different times in different variations and I'll then figure out which one I like. It's typically whatever the last version is. So acquiring just a basic understanding. But if you just want to use it in Fusion, and it really depends on what you do, you can learn, you can acquire to do. So there's a lot of different things that you can make with Infusion. There's a lot of skill sets that you can learn. You can acquire. Okay. So there's a lot of different things that you can make with Infusion. There's a lot of skill sets that you can learn. You can acquire. Alright, so I'll just cut this right here. You can learn. You can acquire to do different things with Infusion, and it really depends on what you're looking to do. I would kind of recommend you to find a video map to a specific thing. But if you just want to get into Fusion and you want to learn how some of the nodes work, and then so while I have my playhead going, I'm using another shortcut, which is the razor, which is just this tool here. It's the same thing, but I just have a shortcut for it. So you want to learn how some of the So acquiring just a basic understanding of Fusion is probably a good thing. So what we're going to try to do here. All right. And then the next one that I'm going to do is this clip here. I'm going to cut everything that's off on, to the beginning of this by going like that. And that shortcut that I have here, I just use F1 and it's start to playhead. So again, it's, okay. I don't know what's going on here. So again, it's just taking wherever my playhead is and moving it all the way over and removing all of this and also shifting the whole timeline down. So acquiring just a basic understanding of Fusion is probably a good thing. So what we're going to try to do here is get some footage on the timeline within DaVinci Resolve's edit page. We're then going to go into Fusion with the stuff that's on the edit page, make a couple of edits there. I'll show you how to get nodes, where to find them, how nodes connect up. And then once we have a couple of things put together, I'll show you then how to get it back onto the edit page so you can continue your edits outside of Fusion. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, and then what I do here is I have my little add spot. So I'm not going to close this because the other thing you could do is you could do a delete, which will then close it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just remove just this clip here by just using backspace. And then I'll have a space there for my ad spot that I put in. And that's just for my website. So before we get started, so the only thing I've done so far is just, all I've done so far is just brought in some footage. All right, so we'll start right here. All right, so all I've done so far is just brought in some footage. And then that transition, that's an OBS thing. Footage is just of a boat going down the river. Instead of having like all the clips. So I'm just going to cut this and just get a really small portion. You typically just want to go into Fusion with the things that you need, so you don't have a 10-minute clip that has to get processed through Fusion and then come back to the edit page when you don't really need anything. So one thing that I would recommend doing is wherever you want your elements or whatever they be, just using that portion of your clip, right? Just cutting just that portion, like you can see here. Just that portion that you're actually going to use, we'll take that into Fusion. Having cut points, we'll make them as individual clips. So when we go into Fusion, we'll have an in and an out point based on where our cuts are. And I'll quickly show you here. So we'll just go right into Fusion. Now, I guess the other thing that I should say here is constantly be saving. Control S to save so that you don't lose anything if you do crash. Pros and cons to that. The one pro is that we can see up here is that we have the resolution of the native clip, and then Fusion, or excuse me, then when we go back to the edit page, it'll then process whatever our timeline is. So I think what I want to do here, doing it this way, we're going to be applying directly is I want to zoom in on that thing. And there's a couple of pros and cons to that. The one pro is that we can see up here is that we have okay, so like right here is that we can see up here is that we have the resolution of the native clip. So what I'll do is I'm going to zoom in on that. To that, the one pro is that we can see up here is that we have the resolution of the native clip, and then Fusion, or excuse me, then when we go back to the edit page, and then Fusion, or excuse me, then when we go. Okay, I'll cut all that. Clip. Then when we go back to the edit page, it'll then process whatever our timeline is. The other way that you could go in and do this is if we make a Fusion clip. So if I click on one of these clips, I can go to new Fusion clip. Okay. I'm actually going to slide this. And then this whole thing, I'll just zoom in on this as well. So if I click on one of these clips, I can go to new Fusion clip. I'm not a huge fan of how fast that went because it takes your eye a little while to focus on what just changed. So I'll probably go like that. So if I click on one of these clips, I can go to new Fusion clip. That's then going to process through the edit page first, then go into Fusion. And there's a couple of different things that happen there. I'm going to come up here to clips so I can see my 3 clips here. We can see this clip was our middle clip. We didn't add the Fusion clip. As you can see over here's the Fusion clip. And we have the over here's the Fusion clip. And we have the resolution of the. Also do a little zoom on there. The reason why you didn't see it is because my playhead was over here. Just got to bring your playhead back to the clip that you actually have selected. All right. You can see over here's the Fusion clip, and we have the video, resolution of the native video file. If I come over to the Fusion clip, what's going to happen is it's going to have the native timeline, or it's going to have the native resolution as well as the frame rate. So if I look up here, we have resolution as well as the frame rate. So if I look up here, we have the 1920 1080, which is our timeline. So, all right, same thing here. 1920 1080, which is our timeline. So it really depends on how you want to work on things, which way you want to go about bringing stuff in. Every case is a little different. Just kind of work with one until you. For the fast forward, the person that asked in chat, so there's 2 different commands. You can either what is the default, which is L, and play fast forward, but I use fast forward, just fast forward. Yeah.
Case just kind of work with one until you need the other. I would say really until you get a better understanding of how the two work. So we're just going to work on this middle.
All right.
Really depends on how you want to work on things, which way you want to go about bringing stuff in. Every case is a little different. Just kind of work with one until you need the other. I would say until you get a better understanding of how the two work. So we're just going to work on this middle little clip here. Looking at our whole project here, so across the top, just like all the other pages within DaVinci Resolve, we have the ability to turn on or off different elements. And Fusion uses a node system, and that's down here. This is referred to as a flow, but I like to say the node tree. And we just have.
All right, we're getting rid of some of these
Say the node tree. The node tree, and we just have one node that leads into another. As you can see, we have this line going over that has the arrowhead going in, and as you can see, if I disconnect that, we have the gray, which is typically all nodes have the gray, which is the out of that, and then have the gray. If I disconnect that, we have the gray, which is typically all nodes have the gray, which is the out of that. We have the gray, which is typically all nodes have the gray, which is the out of that. And then all of the nodes have some type of in. Some of them have an in that you can connect into, and some are what are referred to as generators, so they generate an image themselves. And then, themselves. And then,
I sometimes when I edit, I really hate how I talk.
Generate an image themselves, be able to spit that out.
All right, that kind of doesn't sound right.
Generators, so they generate an image themselves, be able to spit that out.
Some also. Wait, what has happened here?
So they generate an image themselves, and then we'll be able to spit that out.
Whoa.
We're referred to as image themselves, we'll be able to spit that out. So they generate an image themselves, and then
what in the world am I listening to? All right.
And then we'll be able to and then be able to.
Hello?
We'll be able to elves, and then we'll be able to spit that out. Some also is be able to spit that out. Some also is this one. This one is, I guess, a generator-ish. It's producing some type of a video.
Jeez. Type of some type of generator-ish. It's producing a
video, which is the video. A video. It's producing a video, which is it's producing a video, which is the video off of the timeline. But this has an in as well, but that one is a mask. So hovering over them, you can see it, and then also in the bottom corner, you can also see it down there what that input is. So this one is the mask, and if I come over to this one's an in, right? So we would go out of and out, obviously, to an in, and then the other node would then show up. Our viewers up here, we can have multiple types of viewers. We can have viewers that split different channels. Like if we come up here, we can get particular channels if we want to just see one. Or we split different channels. We can get particular channels if we want to just see.
Jeez, I didn't want to do that. So like if we come up here, we can get particular
channels. If we want to just see one particular channel, we can do that, or we can see all the channels are alpha. That gets kind of more in depth when you're starting to do like in-depth stuff.
It starts to get more in depth when you're doing in-depth stuff.
Different channels are alpha. That gets kind of more in depth when you're starting. When you're starting to do like in-depth alpha. That gets kind of
okay. We might just cut all this.
That can just see one particular channel. We can do that, or we can see all the channels are alpha. That's kind of. There's a couple of different settings.
We're gonna gloss over that and act like that didn't happen.
There's a couple of different settings here, but mainly the views are to be able to view different parts of your Fusion. Are to be able to view different parts of. Parts of your Fusion project.
Yeah, I do need. Is that the Ben I think it is?
Parts of your Fusion project. Let's say you want to reference something, or you want to view of your Fusion project. and let's say you want to reference something or you want to view something in a different area, and this going through this I'll be able to show you one different area, and this going through this I'll be able to show you that and let's say you want to reference something or you want to view something in a different area, and this going through this I'll be able to show going through this I'll be able to show you why you want to see one over the other. Here across we here across I want to see one over the other. Here across we have a bunch of and this going through this I'll be able to show you why you want to see one over the other. Here across we have a bunch of different generalized nodes. These are nodes that are commonly used. You have a bunch of different generalized nodes. These are nodes that are commonly used depending on what you want, and there's these little dividers kind of breaking them into little groups. So first couple are just generators that are so the first couple are just generators that are creating something. Over here we have a little bit of color and modifications with the blur. Then we have the ability to transform a little bit, so we can bring clips together, kind of like overlapping them. We can use an actual transform. We're kind of like overlapping them. We can use an actual transform which manipulates it. We have a couple of masks here. We have a really powerful particle system with infusion that you also have the ability. And these are just some nodes. These are
maybe I should show some of these things. I don't know if I actually have old videos though showing like the particle system and stuff. You know what I could do? I do know where I have one particle thing. Let's go into, geez, where is this stuff? Titles, maybe? There we are. I think this? Alright, let's take a look here. Why can't I see it? Really? What has happened? Okay, now we can see it. Alright. We're gonna mute this because this stuff is like really loud. Alright. So I can show these kind of like the particle system, right? Yeah, so that's what we'll do. Right. But where was I talking about the particle thing though?
Really powerful particle system with we have a really powerful particle system with infusion that you also have the ability, and these are just
the ability to use.
We have a really powerful particle system with infusion that you also have the ability, and these are just some. And these are just some nodes. These are not all of them.
All right, there was something else I was talking about too that I could, I guess.
There are generators that are creating something. Over here we have a little bit of color and modifications with the blur. Then we have the ability to transform a little bit, so we can bring clips together, like in them. We can use an actual transform which manipulates it. We have a couple of masks here. We have a really powerful particle system with infusion that you also have the ability. And these are just some nodes. These are not all of them. And then over here is some of the 3D stuff.
3D stuff. I have another video that I can use for 3D stuff. Let's see here. So as the title's this into the middle point. Oh man, my audio back then. Ugh. I mean, it's not any better now, but back then, oh boy. Okay. So I have this thing. And so there's a 3D thing that we made, right? We could use that. Showing. Alright, so that's what we'll use. Showing that off. How long do I have this up? Okay, so I guess we can show both of them, right? Alright, we'll cut that and then we'll show this. Right. So, oh, need audio again. Some nodes, these are not all of them. And then over here is some of the 3D stuff. 3D stuff. Alright, and then we'll put a little title in the top of this, kind of just stating where this came from. Just grab a normal title. System seems like it's going a little sluggish today. Animation tutorials. Well, I mean, like a 2D animation tutorial? I mean, we're kind of doing, actually though, what I'm doing, not really what I'm doing today. Today's some more compositing stuff, but I could definitely do more of those. What am I doing right now? Drop shadow? No. I want to do a background. Here we go. Background width. What does that look like? Why don't I see anything? Height. That's why. Alright. Well, we don't need .mov, so we'll take that off. I think that's the name of the video. I should probably go look on my channel. Opacity 100. We'll remove those rounded corners. Don't care about that. We'll switch this up. And we'll change this to something like, yeah, it's great. Alright, we'll make this smaller and make this smaller. And then we'll grab it and put it down in the bottom corner. Bam. 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able to change this so we can come into here and we can... Okay, well, we can't have it on screen for that long because I'm already talking about something else. What is going on with my system right now? It is being a bit sluggish. Alright, let's move. What in the world am I listening to? Of the 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able to, and then over here, some nodes. These are not all of them. And then over here is some of the, and these are just some nodes. These are, okay, how did everything shift so much? We have a really powerful particle system within Fusion that you also have the ability. Gotta make a video of your room update, dude. There's nothing in here. It's empty. There's nothing in here. It's empty. That's my room. Yeah, at some point I need to put stuff in there and make a video. But
we have a really powerful particle system within Fusion that you also have the ability. And these are just some nodes. These are not all of them. And then over here is some of the 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able to change this so we can come into them. And then over here is just some nodes. These are not all of them. And then over here is some of the 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able to... Okay, so we got to make this significantly shorter. So I'm going to 3D stuff. What is going on? Like, this is definitely not my storage thing. This is like my computer / resolve. It's like even little things. I think I'm gonna restart some, at least this system. Hold on a second. I'm gonna restart resolve. I don't know if I have something in the background that is like taking up RAM. I don't know. Although I do want to update to the newest Fusion, or excuse me, TrueCore, not FreeNAS, TrueCore, or TrueNAS.
What the heck is it different? What's so true NAS? True NAS core. Okay, well then, a mouthful. Yeah, I need to update my system. The snow? I still have power. So I'm not like Texas, so that's a good thing, right? Alright, we are started up again. Tutorials, getting started with Fusion. Dude, it's like back and forth between this music I'm cool with, and then I feel like I'm on like a freaking range. Got this. Hi, Zoe. This is super weird to have people in here, I know. I'll tell you that much. Hi, Zoe. Oh, I guess I should do this, huh? Anything that you can do in After Effects, you can definitely do in DaVinci Resolve and Fusion, for sure. So shapes, the one thing with shapes in After Effects is typically they all stay vectored until you're done, and in Resolve they get rasterized right away, so they turn into pixels. So they're not actual vectors, but there is a vector system. It's just super limited because it was just implemented and it's not completed yet. Okay, so
here are some of the 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able to.
So now, if everyone can see anything cool.
Not all of them. And then over here is some of the 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able to change this, so we can come in here and we can change this. So I have this changed up with a couple of different things that.
All right, so change this. So we can. This is actually a new thing in DaVinci Resolve 17.
We can come in here and we can change this. So I have this changed up.
Let's see here.
Change the.
Alright, so open this up. I don't know how many people actually know about this. I forget what they're called. Maybe just I don't even know
change this so we can come into here and we can
toolbar. They're just referred to as toolbars, I guess.
Come into here and we can change this. So I have this changed up with a couple of different things that I use for when I'm doing motion graphics. You can create multiples. I just want to show you that exists. If we come up here to the effects library and we come into tools, these are going to be all of the tools that you have access to within Fusion. There are a couple of tools that DaVinci Resolve you can use from DaVinci Resolve and have them in Fusion, and those are down here in the open effects.
All right, so effects library and we come into.
That I'm doing motion graphics, you can create multiples. I just want to show you that that exists. If we come up here to the effects library and we come into tools, these are going to be all of the tools that you have access to within Fusion. There are a couple of tools that DaVinci Resolve you can use from DaVinci Resolve and have them in Fusion.
All right, so the more and more I'm like thinking about this video that I'm doing, the more and more I'm thinking that this might not be that beginner, even though it was supposed to be for beginners. Thank you.
In Fusion. There are a couple of tools that DaVinci Resolve you can use from DaVinci Resolve and have them in Fusion. And those are down here in the open effects, the Resolve effects. Those are things that are typically on the edit page or in the color page that you can also use within Fusion. So there's a bunch of nodes in there as well. So that's one way of being able to access all of your nodes. The other way is down here in the node flow. We can right click and go add tool, and here are all the tools as well, broken up into separate categories. If you know your node, you can also hold down shift and hit spacebar, which brings up this.
You can also hold down shift
and you can hit spacebar, which brings up this select tool, and you can.
Okay, so we'll go like, yeah, sure.
select.
Alright, just zooming in on
In
that.
the nodes. So if we want to do like a background, right?
And we'll come back.
Oops.
And look at that, I messed up somewhere because I'm saying whoops.
Oops. Hello. Like a background, right? We can type in background and that will
What?
in that tool, and you can type in the note. So if we want to do
What is going on
this,
right now?
select tool, and you can type in the.
Okay. So we'll type that in here.
So if we want to do like a background, right? We can type in background, and that will create a background node, and that's just kind of like a solid. If you're from After Effects, it's just gonna be like a solid color, which then you can chop up and manipulate and if you want to. So what we're gonna do here is we're first going to just take a couple of characters. So I'm just going to write down my name, and then we're gonna put it onto the.
How much of this applies to Resolve 16 as far as the video, or like what I'm doing right now with the editing? All the stuff that I've done in the editing so far, you can definitely do in 16. The only things that Resolve 16 doesn't have that Resolve 17 does have, that, like, oh man, I'm like in the video, but you're watching a video. All right, live stream and video. All right, so in this video, the stuff with the toolbar, that is only 17 stuff. All the other stuff that I'm doing in the video can be done in 16 and can be done on the free version. Do I use optimized media? No, I don't use optimized media. Well, it depends. If I was doing like a big project, I would use optimized media, or if you're using DaVinci Resolve 17, you can use proxies. Proxies tend to make things a lot easier because you can use external programs to make your proxy files. The only issue then is that you have to link everything correctly, right? And for something like this, I don't use optimized media or proxies just because it's so small. And I do have a video on my system and how I have like my storage solution and all that stuff. There would be truly no reason to use optimized media. But if you're working off of like a SSD like hard drive, like a USB SSD hard drive, sometimes using optimized media is beneficial. If you're using like the Pocket 6K camera or something like that from Blackmagic, a lot of those files are just ridiculously big in data rates. So getting the stuff to move back and forth over like USB 3 can sometimes be an issue if you have big files and then a lot of really small files in your project. But overall, it's typically not that big of an issue.
Write down my name, and then we're going to put it onto the side of this boat. And take a couple of characters, so I'm just going to write down my name, and then we're going to put it onto the side of this boat. We're going to then track the boat so that we can get perspective shift. So as the boat's rocking, we're tracking that, and it's going to make it look like it's actually stuck to the side of the boat. So to do this, we're first going to grab a text node, and this is going to be the node of all nodes to. So this we're first going to grab.
All right, so
We're first going to grab a text
let's do it a little longer.
node, and this is going to be the node.
All right, so here we're just going to show off that I grabbed it from down here in the toolbar. All right, the boat. So to do this, we're first going to
grab a text node, and this is going to be the node of.
All right, and we're first going to grab
a text node, and this is going to be the node of all nodes to create text, right? So in here, I'm just going to type in JRTV. We can pick some stuff here, but read text, right? So in here, I'm just going to type in JRTV. We can pick some stuff here, but we can't see the actual node. So
whoa, that was sounding weird.
So in here, I'm just going to type in JRTV. We can pick some stuff here, but we can't see.
And then we'll position that. Some stuff here, but we can't see the. And we're gonna come down, right? Like that. EV. We can pick some stuff here, but we can't see the actual node. So to be able to view this node,
so we drag it up and then we release to view it up here. And we can go in and pick whatever font. So I'll just go in and I'll pick a font. Let's say this one here. And once we have a font picked, we can pick color size, all that stuff. Next, we want to get this onto the boat. So there's a couple of different ways that we could typically do this. I was saying this node here, the merge node, that allows us to take one element and lay it on top of the other. If I was to do that, I'll bring that in, and then we're going to go from the media in, which is this video clip here. We're going to drag this up to the background, which is the yellow here. If you ever need to know, you can just always hover over it. It says down the bottom corner. Drag this up to the background, which is the...
All right, so this is the first time that I'm gonna have to go into Fusion and actually make something.
To the background, which is the background, which is the yellow here. If you ever need to know, you can just... Background, which is the yellow.
All right, so we're
right over here. If you ever need to know, you can just always hover over it. It says down the bottom corner, and if you sit there long enough, it'll say right where your mouse cursor is.
All right, so we'll take this portion, and we will go into Fusion. And I want to outline the bottom corner that kind of says what the node is. So let's grab a background. We will switch this up to a yellowish orange, and I lost music. And then we will grab a mask so we can mask it, and we will unsolid it, and we'll add a border. And then we'll bring it down to the bottom, and it would save in the middle of that. We'll bring it down to this bottom corner. Go one view, close this, get some space in here. Bring it down here, make it a bit smaller. Bring the height down, and we're just showing off this corner over here. And make it a little thinner. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so now we got a little thingy like that, kind of showing that off. And while we're here, and I would probably only do this because I'm live streaming, we're gonna make it look a little fancy by a little, I don't know, animation. So I'm just gonna grab a mask paint, and I'm going to connect this into the mask paint, and I'm gonna come into here, and am I on the right thing? What's going on? Hello. My system really does not like that I am recording live streaming because everything just froze. What has happened? I gotta restart again, huh? Yep. Alrighty, well then, that was fun. Well, I'll do it here in a second once I can close this program and restart. Well, while that's going, I'll do this. Still waiting for it to restart. All right, we're restarted again. We're gonna go back into tutorials, into here, and we will build that out. All right, so we're back in here. I don't know where I last saved, which kind of sucks.
Type in J, even pick whatever font's better. Just take this up to
Okay.
background. If I was to do that, I'll bring that in, and then we're gonna go from the media in, which is this video clip here. We're gonna drag this up to the background, which is the yellow here. If you ever need to know, you can just always hover over it. It says down the bottom corner. And if you sit there long enough, it'll say right where your mouse cursor is. And if we drag this one to
Okay, so
here, if you ever need to know, you can just always hover over it. Next, we want to get this one to the boat. So there's a couple of different ways that we could typically do this, right? That allows us to take one element and lay it on top of the other. If I was to do that, I'll bring that in, and then we're going to go from the media in, which is this video clip here. We're going to drag this up to the background, which is the yellow here. If you ever need to know, you can just always hover over it. It says down the bottom corner. If you sit there long enough, it'll say right where you...
okay.
Need to know, you can just always hover over it. Clip here. we're going to drag this up to the background, which is the yellow here. If you ever need to know, you can just always hover over it. It says down the bottom. Okay, always. It says down the bottom corner, and if you sit there long enough, it'll say right where your mouse cursor is.
All right, so we'll take this portion. We'll take that portion into Fusion and try it again. Save quick, close that. Background, and we'll do this all again. All right. Change the color over to yellow. And go like that. And add a little bit. Bring it down. Hello. All right. And go like that. All right. All that work just to get a little border, right? Now let's try to add the animation aspect to this without it actually crashing. All right, so grabbing a mask paint, and then in the mask paint node, I'm not going to connect it yet because it's being weird about connecting, as I'm just going to go from here. We're going to go down, across like that, and bring it over, right? We'll actually bring it over past. Then if I connect this and we view this, and we come into brush and stroke, what we can do is we can see, oh, and look at that. Now we have a little animation. Whee! Okay, so in here, I'm actually going to make the size smaller because I only want it to like show like, you know, like right there. All right, size smaller like that. Looking good enough for me. All right, so coming back to the beginning, we're going to keyframe it closed and then just move like, I forget what our frame rate is. I'm gonna open this up and check what the frame rate of this project is. It's 30. So close. We will go plus 18, and then we'll keyframe and open it all the way. So there we have our animation. Cool. But then at the end here, we have like literally soft edges. So just to make this easy, and so you can't really tell, is I'll go up one frame, whoops, up one frame, and then just make that size bigger, right? So you can't really tell.
Hover over
animation. And there is our animation. Great. Now we'll come back. Actually, we could hover over it. It says down the bottom corner, and if you sit there long enough, it'll say it right where you're. All right, so the other thing that I could do is at the end, maybe have it flicker a couple of times and then turn off. So how would I do that? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna use this here, and we're going to, I'm just gonna hand do it. Forget it, doesn't matter. Move a couple of frames. How many frames is this? All right, so we're actually going to, I'm gonna undo all of that. Come back to here, 0, minus 15, on, minus 10, what? Minus 10, like that, minus 10, come on, really? If you didn't know, all of your all of these areas that you can put in numbers, you can do math in them, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going back 10 because I know it's 30 frames per second. Yeah. So once I do that, I'm going to come into the spline, and then in the blend, I'm just going to add easing on all of those, and the default is fine. So now as it gets to the end there, it'll flicker off.
Your mouse
right?
cursor is. And then if we drag this one to there, and right where your mouse cursor is. And then if we drag this one,
Sure.
to there, and now we view this node because we have them both connected, but we want to view it. We view it here. Now we can see it here. So depending,
It's a lot of work just for that little thing because it crashed partway in. All right, so
what you're looking to do, this might be the perfect example for a title sequence, that you're maybe went on an adventure in a boat, right? And you can have this here, and there's a bunch of different types of animations within the text tool. I have a ton of videos on that if you're interested in learning all of the tools that aren't just right here. There's a ton of different tools that are little.
I need to remember, because sometimes I forget. I'm going to actually make a note quick. I say check the description for the where this video is. I'm going to quickly look up that video, and I have to make a note quick about that. So give me 1 second here, because I have to make sure that I actually put it in the description, or else I'll forget. Is this guy really talking about a bag? Anyways. What would that be called? Title modifiers. Okay. Alrighty. Sorry about that.
You get all of the tools that aren't just right here. There's a ton of different tools that are a little hidden to the beginning. And you can take a look at that. That'll be down in the description. So if we take a look at this and we were to click on the text, we have this little widget and we can move the text around and we can see, like, okay, it's on top of it, but it doesn't have the perspective like it's actually on the side of the boat. So there's a couple of different things that we can do to get it on the side of the boat. But a lot of the times when you're working within Fusion, once you start to really get into Fusion, you try to use the least amount of nodes as possible.
Yeah, it's easy to say it like, oh, check the description, but there's so many different things that you have to do to get a video out that sometimes you forget about those things. And it sucks. I've been on the receiving end of like, oh, yeah, I actually want to look that up. And then you look down there and you can't find it to get the result in what you want. So what I could do is I could do a perspective shift with this and skew the text element, which is just this flat element. I could skew that and get it to be on the side of the boat. And then I could do a planar transform node, which would then take a plane. I've tried to search online, use an image with a P emitter. How to use an image with the P emitter. So, hold on 1 second. Let me make another timeline. Since this video or this stream is kind of all over the place, I'll show you quick. So you're going to add it in. Did I do it in the blob? I don't know. So I think there's a P emitter, right? So if we come over to style and then you go into bitmap, you can then here, you can bring it in, right? So that's how you would bring in an image, if I'm reading that correctly. Wow, I read that completely wrong. I thought you wanted to bring in an image to the P emitter. So the biggest thing with getting an image to move like it's raining is going to be displacement. So if you're looking to do something like Video Copilot has, where it's raining on, if it's raining on the screen, like a piece of glass, what you're going to want to do is use displacement, because in those rain blobs, like where you have the brightness values, you're going to want to change you're going to want to displace how it looks. Kind of like the same way how if you have fire and then above the fire you have like the waviness of the heat, right? It's the same sort of thing. It's just done a little cleaner than the heat, right? So, but using the P emitter, that's what I thought you initially wanted. When you do this, and then you would bring in something into this side, and then that would make that particle whatever the bitmap is. Like there, you can make it into like snowflakes or leaves, right? And then you would bring in that part, however you want the particle to be shaped. You would have that come in, and that's going to be on the style. Region also has a bitmap, but that's where you want it to be, where you want them to spawn at, like where you want them to come into the scene at. Oh yeah, with yeah, you could definitely use the bitmap for if you want to do a bunch of smiley faces. But yeah, let's get back to the edit. Okay, why did we not go back to the first timeline? There we are. You're welcome.
And get it to be on the side of the boat, and then I could do and then I could do
and I could do
and then I could do a planar transform.
oh geez. I could do
and get it to be on the side of the boat, and then I could do a planar transform node.
Jeez, come on.
On the side of the boat, and then I could do planar transform node. Which I could do a planar transform.
All right.
The boat, and then I could do a planar transform node, which would then take a planar. It would take a
Jesus.
Take a planar.
English is difficult.
Transform node, which would then take a planar.
It would take. I just give up.
It would take a bunch of nodes. So we're gonna try to do it with the least amount of nodes. A swarm node, which would then take a plane. It would take a bunch of nodes.
Hold on. Now I have to have that in there.
Which would then take a planar.
It would take a planar. Jeez. Oh, that's too funny. All right. Take a plane. All right, so we're all gonna start from here. Here's something that you can learn. I think it's Shift or Control Shift V. No, it's not that. It's not that at all. It's here's the other way to do it. I forget what the shortcut is. Highlight or copy the one, highlight all the others, right click, paste. Oh, just Alt V. Okay, well then you paste, right? And you go position and zoom, right? To get this same thing, because it's zoomed in, obviously, with scale. And then we have a position change, right? So now all of these will have the same thing. Planar. And then I'm just going to continuously make this bigger because English is difficult for me, it seems. We're gonna make this even bigger. Oh, that's a great look there. Planar. It would take a bunch of nodes. All right, that'll work. Whatever.
It would take a bunch of nodes. So we're going to try to do it with the least amount of nodes as possible. So what we're going to use is the planar tracker node. So I'm going to hold down Shift, hit spacebar, and then just type in tracker. And here are all the different trackers. Camera tracker, I believe that's a studio only, but you can use the normal tracker, which is going to give you X and Y, so up and down, left and right information. The planar, that's going to take into account perspective, right? Perspective. So if something turns, we're going to get that perspective shift, right? And then a camera tracker, let's say you take your phone or your...
I wish I had a good video showing... Hold on a second. Let me check Blackmagic's website if they have a video about it. Actually, you know what? If I go into let's go into the manual and then camera tracker. If I could spell tracker right. Camera tracking. They're not showing like in. Ah, perfect. Okay, so I can just, since I know they won't care, I can just take these pictures. Oh wait, how would I take these pictures? I don't even know. Oh no! Where'd it go? Oh. There's too many pages. Okay, 3D camera tracking. I just want the thing showing. There we go. I just want these two pictures. How do you easily... This is frustrating. So if you're using a JPEG, you could go from a JPEG into a bitmap and then into the bitmap input. Control Shift S. What is that, to save an image? Control. Oh gosh, hold on a second. Control Shift S. I don't know what that. What? Maybe that's for someone else. You grab the 0 callouts. I am actually going to be doing an update to that pack and adding more in. So anyone that purchased it now is getting a good deal, because it'll end up going up in price for anyone that doesn't have it yet. I'm adding a couple of more because, like, right now it's cool with the flickering text, but I want to add more where the text is sliding in. And I feel like that would... am I really just going to have to screen cap this? All right. So, you know what? I think I'm just going to have to take a picture of this and then... I don't think anyone's going to understand what this even means if I show this. Unless you know what you're doing. But you know what? We are going to take a picture of it and we're going to put it in. How do I get rid of this thing? Ah, perfect. And then we go print screen. And then I open up this. And it opened up on my other monitor for some reason. Alright, then we go new. And then we're going to go shirt 1080. And we're going to go paste. Oops. And we're going to go like that. Alright, and crop. This is so janky. Of a way to do this. Alright. And now I have to save this quick, so 1 second. Save as editing tutorial. No, we're not going into there. We want to go into the actual tutorial folder in here and camera tracker. Okay, so we'll go like that. Now we have that image. All right, so then, oh man, I gotta bring it back in now that I saved it. All right, so over here, into here. Why did I save it? I didn't actually export it. I just saved the freaking file. Okay, now we have it as an actual image. We'll drop that on. All right, so now we have that. Great. All right, where are we? We're going to get that perspective shift, right? And then a camera tracker. Let's say you take your phone or your camera and you're walking down a hallway. What's going to happen to an element is it's going to start off very far. Maybe I shouldn't explain this. Maybe I should just bypass this. I think I'm going to bypass this.
And then a camera tracker. Let's say you take your phone or your wall planer. That's going to take into account.
Okay.
Your planer, that's going to take into account.
All right, yeah. We're not even gonna. That whole thing was just a waste of time.
Right, information. The planer, that's going to take into account perspective, right? Perspective. So if something turns, we're gonna get that perspective shift, right? And then
okay. So because we're not even doing anything with that.
And then I can't.
It's just me giving
away. So
a ton of information for no reason.
The planer tracker. So once we have it selected here, we can go add. Well, I believe that that's a studio only, but we're not using that. We're just using the planar chapter. Ones are further away. So that's what that is. And that, I believe that that's a studio only, but we're not using that. We're objects. So while you play the clip, those objects are also shifting closer.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I don't know.
So that's going to take X information, or excuse me, Z information, right? So we need to get information as we're going down in 3D space. And what the camera tracker does is it tracks the whole scene, and it can determine, based on how things move in the scene, where the camera has moved in 3D space. And then you can use that to then place objects. So while you play the clip, those objects are also shifting closer or further away. So that's what that is. I believe that that's a studio only, but we're not using that. We're just using the planar tracker. So once we have it,
I guess I'm going to leave it in.
and then a camera tracker, let's say you take your feed and your camera and you're walking down the hallway. What's going to happen to an element is it's going to start off.
All right, screw it. We're just going to put it in, and then we are going to grab a generator, and because I don't want to see this down here because they're different aspect ratios, I'm just going to grab a black background, and in here I'm just going to slightly tint it. All right, great. Let's actually make this visible. What's going to happen to an element is it's going to start off very far away. It's at the end of the hallway. And as the camera goes down, you want the camera to zoom in, right? So that's zooming. It's going to take X information, or excuse me, Z information, right? So we very far away. It's at the end of the hallway. And as the camera goes down the hallway. What's going to happen to an element is it's going to start off very far away. It's at the end of the hallway. And as the camera goes down, you want the camera to zoom in, right? So that's going to take X information, or excuse me, Z information, right? So we need to get information as we're going down in 3D space. And what the camera tracker does is it tracks the whole scene, and it can determine, based on how things move in the scene, where the camera has moved in 3D space. And all right, you know what? I think I'm going to cut off that whole beginning thing and just...
And it can determine based... And what the camera tracker does is it...
Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh.
Whole scene, and it can determine based on how this tracks the whole scene. And what the camera tracker does is it...
All right, so we're going to take these and we're going to cut these.
And what the camera tracker does...
And I'm going to actually slide these down.
And what the camera tracks the whole scene, and it can determine, based on how things move in the scene, where the camera has moved in 3D space. And then you can use that to then place objects. So while you play the clip, those...
All right, we're going to do that, and then back these both up. And we're going to probably cut
And then
all
a
this
camera
stuff.
tracker, let's say you take your phone or your...
Yep, we're going to cut all that out.
Your right perspective. So if something turns, we're going to get that perspective shift, right? And what the camera tracker does is it tracks the whole scene, and it can determine, based on how things move in the scene, where the camera has moved in 3D space. And then you can use that to then place objects. So while you play the clip, those objects are also shifting closer or further away. So that's what that is. And that, I believe that that's a studio only, but we're not using that. We're just using... And it'll add it in here. We're first going to connect in the video clip in, and then we're going to connect in the text in, right? So the video is going to be the background, and then the green is going to be the corner pin image. So now if we view this here, we're not really going to see anything. I'm actually going to come back to my text and come over into transfer layout and reset this so we can see here. All right, and now in this planar tracker, I'm going to come into track, and then I'm actually going to come back to my text and come over into transfer layout and reset this so we can see here. All right, and now in this planar tracker, I'm going to come into track, and then now I'm going to come into track, and then
All right.
I'm going to come into track. And then now I'm going to say the area in which I want to track. So I'm going to say I want to track just this side wall here, right? So this is what I want to track. I want to track that information there. I'm actually going to try to make this like that. Okay.
To make this image.
Make that information there. I'm actually going to try to make this like that. Okay, this is the...
We're going to take this, reduce this, speed, 400, ripple sequence, to try to make... This is the information that I want to track.
And there are a bunch of different track information options here. But one thing that you'll notice is we have to set this reference time. So if we hit set, it says 1:32. This is one thing that you'll notice. We have to set this reference time. So if we hit set, it says 1:32.
All right.
This is
Whoops.
we have to set this reference time. So if we hit set, it says 1:32. Now this is going back to the play head on the infusion, and that is going to be this little area. Is going to be this little area here. Because we made that in and out point cuts, we now have in and out points, which is
Come on. All right.
area here. Because we made that in and out point cuts, we now have in and out points, which is the yellow. And it starts at 132, which is where our playhead is. Our playhead's this orange thing. So I'll move that back to 132. And it goes to 271. So those are the frame numbers. So over here, it says where our playhead is. It's at 132 currently. If I was to move this, obviously we would see that number change, right? So in and out points here. And then over here is the current frame that we're viewing. So we select the frame that we want to start on, right? That reference frame that we're always going to get all of our information from and we're going to work off of. It doesn't really matter where it is. We just need to pick one because that's where we're setting this area up, right? And it's always going to look at that area as, okay, this is a starting area. Now we're going to be moving it. So then we have a bunch of different tracking settings. And this is, if you're not getting a good track, that's when you start to play with this and you kind of figure out, okay, which tracker do I like better? You know, and then we have some track information down, or some tools here. So if we would, one do I like better? You know, and then
Do I like better? You know, or do I like better?
and, you know, and then we have some track information down, or some tools here. So, and then we have some track information down, or some tool better. And then we have some track tools here. So if we just want to track one frame,
I don't really like that.
some track tools here. So if we would just want to track one frame, okay, we'll track just one frame, or we can click this and then we can start to continuously track. So right now we're tracking, and as you can see, everything's just kind of moving around. We're tracking through here, and this will track all the way through. I'm not sure why it's kind of going so slow right now. That's kind of bizarre, but we'll let it track all the way through. Hopefully it kind of speeds up here. I'm not entirely sure what's going on right now, but I'm not sure why it's kind of going so slow right now. That's kind of
All right. For some reason, it must be this new beta version or something, because there are some things that are just going kind of slow.
okay. I'm not entirely sure what was going on with the tracking, but I'm just gonna stop it now so I can continue.
And we're gonna cut this, drop this audio down, and clip speed 600%. How long does that make this? All right, and I'm just kind of like all looking all over the place, so we're gonna make this bigger, and we can see the. Let's back it up a little bit so we can see the track information and that down there, right? Maybe something like that. Okay, I'm not. Whoops. We're gonna make this faster.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what was going on with the tracking, but I'm just gonna stop.
Does that need to be even faster? How far is 1 second? Okay, we're going 1 second. Oops. Drag this in. Grab the wrong thing. All right. So that's now 1 second. Okay, I'm not
entirely sure.
So for those who don't know how this works, maybe I should back it up and show you guys. The retime controls, when you turn on retime controls, it allows you to drag to change the timing. So before I typed in 1200 as the speed, but instead of having to type in a number all the time, you can just grab this top and you can pull it and it'll automatically say, okay, from this point to this point, we're now shrinking it in. This now moved to 1900% faster. So that's how that works. And I, for 1 second, I just hold down shift and move my, and hit my arrowhead. And then that will give me 1 second durations.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what was going on with that tracking, but I'm just going to stop it now so I can continue explaining this.
Or jump
once it's done tracking, we can see all these little points here, and those are all keyframes, right, for our tracker. And as you can see, as we go through here,
so you're also seeing that it's a bit sluggish too. Yeah, I don't. It's weird on the things that are sluggish too. Like earlier, I had 2 other projects open, so I use dynamic project switching. If you don't know how that works, hold on 1 second. Just gotta close my database thing. But if you don't know how dynamic project switching works, you can just right click and you can turn on dynamic project switching, and that allows you to have multiple projects open at one time. And then when you have them open, you have these little checkbox. So right there's a checkbox, and then in tutorial I have a checkbox here. So those are the 2 projects that are currently open. And then in here, all the projects that you have open, there's a little drop down. You can jump between the projects, right? And before I had like 4 projects open and things were going like really slow. It was weird. I don't know if that was the reasoning on why, but it was just one of the things that I noticed.
Little points here, and those are all keyframes, right, for our tracker. And as you can see, as we go through here, we have all those little points, and then we don't have any points because that portion isn't tracked. If we want to track it, we can just put our playhead wherever we want. So let's say right here, right where our last track was, we're going to click the button to continue tracking. So now that we have that on there, we can now flip this to corner pin, and now we have this little area right here.
All right, so we're gonna.
We have that on there. We can now flip this to corner pin, and
maybe come back a little bit. Shift that over
to corner pin.
And then in here, we're also going to be showing off this whole thing about the corner pin. There, we can now flip this to corner pin, and now we have this little area right here, and we can to corner pin, and now we have this little area and corner pin, and now we have this little area right here, and we can see JRTV right there. We can move this over to our corner pin, and now we have this little area right here, and we can see JRTV right there. We can move this over to our area. All right.
You can see JRTV right there. We can move this over to our area, all right? To where we want this to be located, right, like that. And now we can't really see it there, so I'm going to go to views, and we're just going to view the text over here. So what we can do in here is we can come back over to the text, and we can increase its size. Let's view this over here. We can increase its size, right? But you don't want to cut it off.
So if anyone is just following the see, look what the heck I'm doing. We are adding the text tracked on the side of this boat. It's just like a little tutorial kind of showing off just some of the things you can do in Fusion. See, the issue for me with creating a beginner guide to Fusion is there's so many different reasons why someone would want to do something in Fusion, and it's hard to pick that one thing to go over because there's so many different things. You could do compositing work, or you could do light 3D stuff, or you could do some type of motion graphics, and then the motion graphics might just be text motion graphics kind of thing, like this kind of a thing, right? Or they could be motion graphics where you have characters and you're trying to do some type of like puppeting. So yeah, it's kind of all over the place. This is meta. See, the next stream is the one you have to come in, because that's me editing, showing how to use DaVinci. Yeah. So it's this stream. I'll edit this stream of me editing. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Increase its size, right? But you don't want to cut it off, right? So once we start to go out, it's going to cut it off, and we can see over here it's cut off, right? So we want to come in, we can make it, let's say, that big, and we can bring it up to the top. There we are. Now if we view, let's close this. We view this here. I'm going to open this up just a little bit. All right, so to me, that looks like it's on there. And now
All right, so this little bit where I was doing that, I'm just going to speed all of this up, right? So we'll just use that retime control. Where is 1 second? 1 second's right there. So we're just going to bring it all the way back and close that gap there.
All right, so to me that looks like it's on there. And now if I play this through, what we can see is that it's sticking right where it was that whole time. It's sticking right to it, right? It's looking real good. But then remember, halfway through here, we start to lose the track information. So we'll see what happens right after the track information. Now it's sliding all over the place, right? So that's where the track information comes in, and we really want it to start to look good. So I don't want to go too deep into all this, but I want to show you one little cool thing that you can do here. So there's a node that is called a bitmap, right? So I'm going to grab that quick. And we're going to take the video clip.
Okay, maybe I
don't want to go too deep into all this, but I want to show you one little cool thing that you can do here. So there's a node that is called a bitmap. I'm going to call it a bitmap, right? So I'm going to grab that quick.
So there's a node that is called a bitmap.
Right, so I'm going to grab that.
Right, so I'm going to grab. What is going on here? See, this is the weird stuff. Like, what is going? Why can't I? Thank you.
We're going to take the video clip into the bitmap, and we're just going to view.
Alright, so we'll go like that. We're going to also come down to here. A node that is called a bitmap, right? So I'm going to grab that quick. Alright. Right, so I'm going to bitmap, right? See, I go kind of too fast. What is going on here? Make this height bigger. Jeez, I can't grab this. That is called a bitmap, right? So I'm going to grab that quick. And we're going to take the video clip into the bitmap. And we're just going to view the bitmap over here. And we'll go fit. And we're going to change the channel. And we're going to change the channel
to luminance. And luminance is
going to...
And luminance is going to be the brightness values of the red, green, and blue channels, right? And so change the channel to luminance. And luminance is going
over here. We'll go fit. Over here. We'll go fit. All right. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Come over here. I'm going to pay. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to, in here, paste the attributes. Paste the attributes, because at the end of here, I'm just going to keyframe there, but then come back a little bit, and then just put it in 1, 0, 0, right? Fit. And we're going to change the channel to
luminance. And luminance is going to be the brightness values of the red, green, and blue channels, right? And it's going to obviously do this gray. What we can do in here is we can kind of get this to be a little smaller, and we can get these like little areas that are like this black, and we can use this information where these cracks are, right? We can use that information to cut the actual to cut this white, or excuse me, the text. So if I put this in now, we can see that it looks like it might actually be painted on there, right? Because we got it all cut off, right? And now if I play this through, that's all going to accurately update, and we can see it looks pretty good on there. Now there's a lot of different things that you could do, and you can obviously change this so this isn't so powerful, so we can get more. We can get more of that stuff. See, we have these other little white spots, but the way in which this is lit up, because we can see it's lit up from the sun hitting
the sun hitting. The
sun hitting the splashing, and it's kind of reflected here, so we have different brightness levels. But then it looks significantly better than if it was like that, right? It looks like it's starting to be on there a little bit more. Now, you could go really in depth with this. If I wasn't to use the planar tracker, I could come over to tracking, and then I could create a planar transform, which would take the tracking information, put it on a transform, and then they wouldn't be using the planar tracker nodes to do the overlapping. And then we could add a whole bunch of stuff. Like we could then add, we could take all of this like little information here, we could do a displacement map, and do all sorts of things to make it really look like it was painted on the side. It's a little too much for this tutorial. I feel like this, if it was a very short thing, let's go back over the corner pin. If this was a very short thing, you can make this look good, and then maybe have coming up from the bottom something that that says here. Let's do it. In here, let's just do a number sign maybe it's like an episode, red number sign, maybe it's like an episode, maybe it's like an episode 21, right? So we can do episode 21, and then we can connect both of these together, right? So we're connecting both of these together, and we have an episode 21. Let's go back into our text, and maybe we make this a little bigger, and we can have it come down. And let's have it come all the way to the beginning here. And we'll go all the way down, come over to layout in the center. We'll click, and then we can have it come up. So we're adding keyframes here. There's a little keyframe there. So what happens here is as it plays, it'll come up. And then if you really want to get fancy, you come over into the spline, and you could hit F, and you could ease this, right? So it'll go really fast, and then it'll slow down as it goes up. So we can do that. Now we have both of these as an element together. You have this go into the planar tracer, and we could have it come up from the bottom, saying like it's episode 21. All that information is tracked together. You might not like that if we look here, as it comes down, it's kind of like a real rough edge. You might not like that. So what we could do is we could add on here a mask, and we could soften mask there, and we could soften that edge there. It's actually
Splines? What, you don't like splines?
a mask, and we could soften that edge there.
Oh, you mess with them on the editing page? Yeah, they're also in Fusion.
There we are. I'm really just kind of showing you how to do these things, but
I feel like they're a bit more powerful in Fusion as well. Show you the power and the flexibility, and when you come up with things on the
fly, you can
What do you mean? They're on the edit page? Right here. Right. I don't have anything keyframed in there, but they're right there. Oh god, what happened? What did I just do? They're right here. You just click this button and then they're in there. Once you have something, you know, keyframed. Alright, hold on. Let me come back. Open this up. If I make this bigger. You can then pick whatever the value that you want to use. You click and then they're then in here. And then you can add the easing in and you get the handles that you can then pull as well. Alright. Alright. Where was I?
up a little bit, soften that edge there, so it kind of comes out from that corner there. So there we are. And we could soften that edge there. Let's actually bring it up a little bit. Soften that edge there.
Wait. What did I jump cut something that I don't like. Let's actually bring it up a little bit. Soften that
edge there, so it kind of comes out from that corner there. So might not like that. So what we could do is we could add on here a mask, and we could soften that edge there. Let's actually bring it up a little bit. Soften that edge there, so it kind of comes out from that corner there. So there we are. I'm really just kind of showing you how to do these things, but I want to show you the power and the flexibility, and when you come up with things on the fly, you can just start to create them. Once you have an idea, showing you how to do these things, but I want to show you the power and I'm really just...
There we are.
But I want to show you the power and the start to create them. Once you have an idea of the nodes, and it really is a time thing, you know, the more you mess with this stuff, you get a better understanding of what nodes exist, how they work together, you can start to create things. But it's a free piece of software that is extremely powerful. If you have the free version, all the stuff that I've done so far is possible. If you have the studio version, you can do even more. But yeah, just wanted to kind of show you. So now we have that coming up from the side there. So episode 21. Oh, I want to change this, the position. So I come back to the keyframe right here, have the text, select it, and I can bring it up there, right? So now we know episode 21 with the easing to slow it down. And there we go. Now we have everything pretty much finished in this player tracker. We just need to connect this to the media out. Media out is going to take this project from DaVinci Resolve.
I probably won't sell single transitions, and the reason why I wouldn't sell them is because small purchases on my website are extremely expensive. Like when you get down to like $1 or $2, they're extremely expensive because at that point, the payment gateways would take like 60% of the money. So that's why I sell it in bigger packs. Because selling individual ones, you would just get destroyed with all of the fees for processing. If you did want to support me and you will get something out of it, the channel membership on YouTube, you can do that. I don't really know the exact number of things that are currently up. Maybe I should get a list of everything that's up. But I have a bunch of tutorials that I've done on the channel, and those tutorials have like the project files through the channel membership through YouTube. So if you did want to support and you didn't want to do $30, there are other options there as well. But thank you for wanting to do that.
To the media out. Media out is going to take this project from DaVinci Resolve and now put it back onto the timeline. And so if we come back over to the edit page, we can now see it here in the timeline, right? And depending on how your system's set up, you should have, if you ever have a Fusion comp, you should have render cache enabled. So we come up here to playback and we have render cache and we have it just turned on. And then once we have it turned on, we have this bar that goes red to blue. And what it's doing is all of the processing that had to be done for this clip, it's rendering it out into a video behind the scenes without us having to do anything. So then when we're ready and we want to play this, we can come in and then we can play this video. I'm not sure what is going on with my system right now, but we can play this video. And remember, halfway through here, we didn't actually continue that. We didn't continue the tracking. Except through here, we didn't actually. We can play this video, and remember, halfway through here, we didn't.
Hello?
The video, and remember, halfway through here, we didn't continue the tracking. And you just have to remember that halfway through this, we didn't continue that tracking.
Oh, geez. All right.
You just have to remember that halfway through this, we didn't continue that tracking.
And
the video, you just have to remember that halfway through this, we didn't continue that tracking. I'm not sure what is going on with my system right now, but we can play this video.
you just have to remember that halfway through.
Remember this, we didn't continue that
That's
tracking.
fine.
So it looks great right here, but then as the tracking information falls off, then, we obviously would have to go back and fix that. But there you go. We have some text, rendered on the side of a boat. We can always just go back into Fusion. If you're not sure which clip you're on, click right here. We can see which clip we're on. The little stars say that there's a Fusion comp connected to that, which means that when you're on the timeline, it's going to grab the video clip, then process it through Fusion, then come back to the timeline, and then play it from the timeline and go into Fusion. So, or excuse me, the color page and so on. Coming back over to the pointer tracker, we could come back right here to the end, flip this back over to tracker, and we can continue tracking this, right? And then we would then have the video clip tracked. Come back over. Once we manipulate stuff over there, it's going to then want to re-update the cache. So we could re-update the cache here, and then you could continue going. So that's how I would go into what happened here. Oh, because I flip this from corner pin. Okay. So yeah, that's how I would go. So yeah, that's pretty much.
All right, I think this is the end. Oh no, it's not the end. I hope that this isn't the whole time where I failed the end of this video for a solid like 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, because I flip this from corner pin. Okay. So yeah, that's how I would go.
I think it is.
This from corner pin. Okay. So yeah, that's how I would go. Brief idea of how. So yeah, that's pretty much a brief idea of how Fusion works. There are a lot of nodes in Fusion. There are a lot of parameters in Fusion. It's not something that I would recommend grabbing the reference manual and.
All right. Well, I'm gonna cut all of that off.
To re-update the cache, so we can re-update the cache here, and then you can continue going. So that's how I would go. Oh, because I flip this from corner pin. Okay. So yeah, that's how I would say don't go through every single tool, is because there are so many tools. There are so many tools. Once you start to learn a tool, then you'll learn that there are. But then there also isn't some desirable things that you might want out of a 3. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. I hope you.
All right, so there's 2 things I'm going to do here. One, I'm actually going to go into that project, render that project out, show that project off when I'm doing this outro. And yeah, and then I just have to add a couple of like little things. And then I'm pretty much done.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. I hope you guys have learned.
Hope you enjoyed this video.
It's kind of all I got. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you today. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today.
You can tell I suck at doing outros.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. It's a weird world out there. I want you guys all to stay safe. I hope you guys have learned something here. But yeah, that's pretty much all. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys learned something. But yeah, with that being said, I want you all to stay safe. Thank you for watching. My name's JR. Have a good one.
Okay, so we just cut like 6 minutes off. Right there at the end. But now I'm going to actually go into I think I was actually going to do this as a live stream, and I think this is it here. So I'm going to actually... No, there is no way I'm keeping that in. All right, so this clip here, I just need to finish the... All right, so I'm gonna come over here, flip this over to tracking, and hopefully we don't like crash here. But I'm actually gonna come back over to this project and save this quick, just in case. Are we actually going to switch over? Thank you for the membership. Or thanks for becoming a member. Jeez, I don't... Still trying to figure out this whole live streaming thing. Okay, so I saved that one. Now going back over to the other project. And then in here, I'm just going to go to that last point and continue tracking from here. Hopefully it doesn't go slow. Okay. Does that mean I need to start again from scratch? I don't think I've ever seen that before. Because there isn't a ton of tracking information here. Alright, so you know what I'm going to do? I will just bring... Ooh, you know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to copy this, paste this, bring this in, and redo it because everything is already set up, right? Alright, the player trying too much data. This is saved in this comp file, or rather, it's stored in this final result, matching. Alright, cool. Whatever. So what is the... So, because I kind of don't want to go back. This isn't something I don't think I've ever seen in Fusion Studio, so I'm not entirely sure. All right, we're just going to reset this. I'll just redo this quick. All right, and come back to the beginning and. I appreciate it. Okay, so that went all the way through, and now I just have to, set everything up as according with this. All right, so we'll come into corner pin. Obviously, corner pin needs to come over here. What is with all of this, like... Alright, what does that look like? Alright, so we'll have this go into here. This needs to come down, this needs to come down. It's looking pretty locked on there. I don't see any sliding, which is good. Okay. We're just going to leave it like that. I don't think I had anything extra in there. We're then going to come back over to the edit page. Now we have it over here. I'm going to get rid of these two clips because I only really want to render out that one. Alright, we'll close that gap there. And I'll quickly render this out. All right. 1 second. So let's go into the tutorial in here. Track to demo. Oh, now this is going to be interesting. So currently my rendering. So right now I am streaming on this system. I'm recording on this system. I am going to then render on the system. So hopefully this doesn't get all weird. But we'll see. Hope for the best, right? Let me know if it gets all weird. But this is actually going pretty quick. Okay, we're done. Thought that was gonna be a bit more intense, but it wasn't. It's actually pretty easy. Yeah, at some point, I mean, depending on how I, continue with this whole streaming thing, I might end up, having like a dedicated system just for the stream so that I can reboot my computer if I need to and everything else. Okay, so just pulled that video clip into here. We're going to slide it over quick and bring this over. We're going to close this gap. See, things are I don't know if it's because of this beta version of Resolve, but it is kind of slow. Look at, like, what's going on right now. All right, one of the other things I can do is I can come back over to that other project. Oops, I didn't want to open that. Come back over to the other project and stream, and we can close this thing. All right, we can save that, sure. All right, so now that project's closed. Flip this from corner pin. Okay, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Wait a second. But corner pin. Do I have to re-render that? But why is this sitting here? It's not going down. Or it didn't come up. But, yeah. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Because I want that animation there. Well, now I get to go back and do it again. Damn it. Did you guys see the... You're talking about Chrome. Did you see the new Chrome update? I tweeted about it. You can now group tabs. And I'm like, I already have an issue with having too many tabs open, and now you're telling me that I can... Now you're telling me I can freaking have even more tabs and have them in order? Because typically my tabs are all over the place, and, they never result in anything. And being able to find anything. Alright, so now I have that animation, right? Cool. Alright, so now I gotta re-render this again. Let's try this again. I mean, like, I will, while I'm trying to research something, I'll continuously keep opening tabs because I'm like, oh, yeah, that's good information. But it's not really the information I'm looking for. So let's open it up another tab and, like, let's look into this a little bit further. And then the end of the day, when I'm, like, ready to, log off of my computer, I have, like, a bajillion tabs open. Half of them aren't even, like, visible, like it has to reload the page. But yeah. All right, so now we have that with the animation. I don't know how things got out of whack there, but I just kind of slid over the keyframes that I had previously. Now we'll come back over to the edit page. We'll remove the one that I just put in here, which is right here. We'll remove this one, get that out of there, and now I have to bring over this one, if it actually comes in. All right. So now this one, if we, why is it fit, but it's not actually fit in here? So there we go. We have the little animation that comes up. It looks okay, whatever. It gets the point across, right? Oh, because I flipped this from corner pin. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys learned something. But yeah, with that being said, I want you all to stay safe. Thank you for watching. You know what's funny? Because right before streaming, I was thinking about this one thing, what I have to add in here. Because I don't ever say it, because I hate how on YouTube you constantly hear like, oh, like and subscribe, right? So I've kind of made it a point to never say that. But I'm curious if I ask people to like live streams, if that would help at all. So yeah, I just asked. Anyways, I'm pulling in my my different assets that I use for this. So I have this subscribe sound that I made, and the sounds out of the subscribe button are actually pretty funny. And then I have this JPEG or PNG sequence for the actual button that I made a long time ago. But so these sound effects are freaking hilarious. What I actually used, and they kind of work. So if we just clicking on things just takes so long. So the first sound is a rubber glove, like stretching a rubber glove, right? And then obviously the bell, right? And then for it to go away, it's a bee flying by a microphone. Yeah, so that's my little thingy that I use. I will put this over here. I think that these are like the sound is a little too hot, so I'll drop that down to -7. All right, so that is that. So let's come back to the beginning. In here, I have to put in my little ad thingy. So let me grab that quick. I really need to update this because this I made November of 2019. And since then, I have so many new products. And I could probably make this video significantly better, right? But for some reason right now it doesn't want to actually play it. Wait, that's very bizarre. Hold on a sec. What? Explore a wide... Okay. Oh, why can't I see this? Explore a... wide select. Okay, we're gonna quickly do a restart because that file should be working. Might help if I announce on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah, probably should, but I never know how long I'm going to be streaming for. It doesn't matter. I should probably still make a post about it. Ugh. Damn it. Okay. Just restarting quick. This restart's taking a bit longer than normal. Do I announce my live streams on YouTube? No. I just kind of live stream. I'm still trying to figure out this whole live streaming thing. And when the proper time to live stream is. How to go about, you know, showing it off. I know, like, I should probably announce via the community tab. But I don't. Okay. And like that, all of a sudden it's now working. Great. So that must be a bug. All right, so now that I have...
So there's a lot of different things that you can make within Fusion. There's a lot of skill sets that you can learn. You can acquire to do different things within Fusion. And it really depends on what you're looking to do. I would kind of...
Okay, so there's a bunch of things that you can learn to do in Fusion. So I think this whole beginning portion, I also want to show off a couple of the projects that I have on the channel, right? So let me pull in some other projects. What are some cool projects that I should be pulling in here? Let's do the other map one, right? Because I think the other map one was pretty cool, right? So making a 3D map, sky view of map transition. No, I don't know what this one is. Making a 3D
so
map.
as the title says,
okay, so we're not doing that one. Map, sky view map. What is this one?
Today we're to use...
Why does that look like the same exact thing? Wait a second.
Today we're going to be...
Oh, I remember this. Hold on. Did I never make a... Oh man, that color grade. Ugh. When you look back on old stuff, right? Did I never, like, show off the final product to this? No, wait, I have a render file. What is this? Aha! Okay. So we can do this, right? We'll use that to show off things that you can do. All right, what else can I find in here? I thought I had a different map thing. I'm just looking through all of the previous stuff that I have, right? And because I'm just saying, like, oh, you can create stuff. So I want to try to just show off a couple of things. So I'm just looking through all of my old projects. Okay, so I think this one might be good. Okay, so that will be fine. I can show off that. All right, so these two, fine. I think, let me just see how much time I have here.
So there's a lot of different things that you...
All right, so there's a lot of different things you can make. Now, what are the things I just pulled in here? This 3D, no, I use the render thing, right? So we'll drag in this render. Oh gosh, this is a long animation.
In Fusion, there's a lot of styles.
All right, so we're gonna cut this down a little bit.
Within Fusion, there's a lot of skill sets that you can learn.
Oh man, this is like a lot
that
longer
you can
than...
learn. You can learn.
Okay, so maybe I'll just cut it like that.
So there's a lot of different things that you can make within Fusion. There's a lot of skill sets that you can learn. You can acquire to do.
All right, that kind of takes away the whole funny thing.
You can acquire to. So there's a lot of different things that you can make within Fusion. There's a lot of skill sets that you can learn. You can acquire to do.
Okay, so we'll leave that, and then what was the other thing? Oh, this Polaroid thing, right? Why can't I see it?
thingy. I don't know, I thought it'd be a good idea to make something to kind of...
oh, gosh. I sound like I'm talking into a freaking can. Alright, so we'll start it like there.
It really depends on what you're looking to do. I would kind of recommend you to find a video on that specific.
Alright. Learn. You can acquire to do different things within Fusion. And it really depends on what you're looking to do. I would kind of recommend... Oh gosh, there's some stutter talk going on here. What you're looking to do, I would recommend you to find a video on that specific thing. I'm so hard on myself sometimes. On that specific thing, but okay, and let's find another one. I don't know what else I made that I would want to show off here that is like different than the rest. Oh, I know something that I could do. Oh man, what was that called? There was one that I did, I remade the title sequence. Here we go. Oh man, there is a lot of files to this. Why is there so many files to this? I made a title sequence, or I recreated a title sequence from a movie. And I could just use that. Maybe this? Maybe I'll fast forward all of this. Right, yeah, so that was me recreating the Kong title sequence. Alright, so so we'll drop this on here, then we'll change this speed to like 3000. If you just want to get into Fusion and you want to learn how some of the nodes work, so acquiring just a bit work. So
learn how some of the nodes work. So just a basic understanding of Fusion is probably a good thing. So what we're going to try to do here
into Fusion and you want to learn how so acquire into Fusion and you want to learn how the node if you just wanted Fusion and learn how some of the so acquiring just basic understanding of Fusion is
probably a good thing. So what we're going to try to do here is get some footage on the timeline within the DaVinci Resolve's edit page. We're then going to go into Fusion with the stuff that's on the edit page, make a couple of edits there. I'll show you how to get nodes where to find.
All right, so I think that's good. So what I like to do is right after the somewhere after all of that, I can redo the subscribe button. And the audio for the subscribe button, where the heck is it? There we are. -7. All right. Anyone have any questions here? Let's see. You could make. Oh gosh, I don't want this. I don't know like that DaVinci Resolve will ever allow you to import an Adobe Premiere file. There are ways, like you could take a timeline and bring it in, but that's using like an industry standard file type, I guess is the best way to put it, just an XML. But I don't know that you'll ever see the ability to convert some of those over, mainly because the tools are slightly different. Have a good one.
That's then going to process through the edit.
Okay, so I actually need to come back over to here because I never positioned this. And we are going to put it right here.
So as individual clips, so when we go into Fusion, we'll have an in and an out point based on where our cuts are. And I'll quickly show you here. So,
all right, so that is good. Turn off those, bring this down, bring this up. All right, so I think I'm good. We got a 24-minute video. I'm still on the fence about adding my subtle music in the background of tutorials. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. I just don't know. How are you? How long do you ask that? Oh man, you asked that like 10 minutes ago. I'm doing pretty good. Just getting done with this edit of this video. I'm pretty much done. I just now need to determine, am I going to, oh, you know what I could do for these? I'm going to put the titles of each one of these videos in the corner. So I actually have to go to my YouTube channel to figure out what those are. Because sometimes I name them differently than the folders that I have on my computer. Alright, so YouTube. Alright, so this one was like a map something, right? I think making a map in 3D or something. Map. Okay, so this one's actually called Skyview Map. So we will open up this and just grab a normal. And we will connect this right here. I need to make assets for all my stuff too, like stuff that I really like. 50 maybe? Yeah, that will work. And then round corners 0, height. Wait, is there a space in here? There sure is. Okay. And then width and 100% height. Bring that down. Let's make it a little on the yellow side. We'll then bring this down into the bottom corner. Now that we did that, I'll just copy that over to here. And let's make sure that this is the actual video name. Polaroid. Okay. And I had spaces, and I need to go in the width a little bit. And then I will also shift this over slightly. A little wider. Whoops, not that way. Wider. There we are. And I'll have that the full length. And then we have one more. Oh man, this one's a bit longer. Width. Right there. Come back over to settings, shift this over. All right. And we'll bring that to the edge. Looking good. All right. I don't mind a little music. Okay. Wait, what happened here? Didn't I have like... I could have sworn that... I could have sworn I had a generator under this. I don't know where that went. I'm 99% sure I did. And it can determine based, and then you can... I could have sworn I had a generator under that. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys learned something. But yeah, with that learn something. But yeah, with that being said, I want you all to stay safe. Thank you for watching. My name's JR. Have a good one. What happened here?
Oh, because I flipped this from corner pin. Okay.
I feel like showing that off because some people might have an issue. Playing around with that is a good thing. Okay. Why does it say 3D stuff? What has happened with this project? There's like random elements that are just gone. I definitely... It just... Whatever. Okay, so what was here? Because I was showing off something in 3D here, obviously. Making a 3D map. Okay, so I'm guessing it's this. Oh, I was showing the little hand thing. It's still there. Okay. 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able... Okay, we want to back that off and come this way. 3D stuff. Recently, we've been able to change this so we can come into here and we can change this so I have this changed up with a couple... Change this so I have this changed... Okay, I'll change this so I... Change... Alright, so we're going to bring that back. Change this so we can come into here and we can change this so I... And then right after we're done clicking, I have this changed up with a couple of different things that I use for when I'm doing motion.
Yeah, in graphics you can create multiples. I just want to show you that exists. The effects library, we come into tools. These are going to be all of the tools that you have access to within Fusion. There are a couple of tools that DaVinci Resolve you can use from DaVinci Resolve and have them in Fusion. And those are down here in the open effects.
And those are down here in the open effects, the resolve effects. Fusion, and those are down here in the those are down and those are down in Fusion, and those are down here in the open effects, the resolve effects. Those are things that are typically
on the edit page or in the color page that you can also use within Fusion. So there's a bunch of nodes in there as well. So that's one way of being able to access all of your nodes. The other way is down here in the node flow. We can write.
Okay. So I'm just hoping that there isn't anything else that's kind of all over the place. Hover over it, it says down the bottom corner, and if you sit there long enough, it'll say it right where your mouse. Hopefully there isn't anything else missing. I think just because of the base off this time, 25 minutes, I think I'm just going to do it without music. Yeah, so I think I'm kind of done on the edit. Once it's done rendering, I'll watch through it to make sure like nothing else was messed up. I hate that there was those couple of things messed up because it kind of makes me concerned that there'll be more messed up. But I'll render it and then watch it, and then if there's something else, then I'll fix it at that point. But I feel pretty confident that there isn't. So yeah, anyone have any questions before I get out of here and render this? All right, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all for hanging out with me. If I could find which box is supposed to. Yeah. So with that being said, thanks all for hanging out with me. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you're still in lockdown, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully I can bring a couple more streams your way to not have it suck so much. But with that being said, I'm out of here. My name's JR. Thanks for hanging out. And I can't really say when the next stream will be because I'm not entirely sure. I still have yet to make any type of like schedule. But yeah, have a good day.